Hey guys, thank you for purchasing the Tombstone AN Drain Lock system. Before we go over the installation, we want to talk about the right fitment and part numbers that you got. Okay, for a dash 10, you're going to be using part number 800. For dash 12, you're going to be part number 975. Now, before we even do the installation on the locks, we want to make sure that your turbocharger system is complete. Make sure also that your M8125 and your M12175 are cleaned out. So use compressed air, penetrant oil, or even if you have to, re-tap that hole to make sure all the debris is out of those holes. So today we're going to show you on a Fleece Performance tall shank and then a full send short shank. Your lock is going to go right above the hex and right below the oil drain line. It's going to slide right in there, real easy. Okay, so for demonstrations on this one, that Fleece Performance is going to be in the front. That's the tall shank. So you're going to go ahead and get your lock, make sure you have your positioning right, however you need to do it, being that you may be, under the truck or on an engine stand. It's very easy. Okay, so you're going to have an M12175 bolt, a lock washer, and a flat washer. Being that we're using the tall shank Fleece Performance, we're going to need that supplied spacer. Okay, so you're going to get that set on there. You're going to see there's a little gap in between there. So you set your bolt in. Use the supplied billet spacer, get that threaded in there, torque it down. Doesn't take much. You're using a lock washer, and obviously we don't need to get crazy with it. This doesn't need to hold much tension. It's made out of stainless. Okay? So with the rear, we're going to use the short shank full send. Get that in there. Now you're going to have two different size bolts for the M8125 in the rear. You're going to have a short bolt and a long bolt. The short bolt, you will not be using the spacer if you're running a shallow shank AN. If you're running the tall shank AN, you're going to need the long bolt and the spacer. For this, we have the short shank in the rear. You're going to go ahead and get that guy installed. Make sure your orientation, like I said, is right. Make sure that you're comfortable with your fitment. You're going to put your supplied bolt, lock washer, and flat washer on there. Set that on. Bolt it in. So obviously, like I said, there's no gap in between when you're using a short shank system. So you don't need the spacer for that. Now, if we want to do a reverse orientation and we want a Fleece Performance in the rear, these systems are the exact same on the bracket. So they are interchangeable for whatever fitting you're using. So we use our tall shank in the rear from Fleece. You set that on. Now we're going to be using the long bolt of the M8125 and the supplied spacer. So you have your bolt. You see that there's a gap there. Put your spacer in between the engine block and the bracket. Thread it in. Lock it down. You're done. Do not over torque these. You do not want to break these off from the block. Obviously they're hardened steel. They're going to take a lot to break, but we don't need to overdo that. Now, like I said, these are very universal as far as fitment, fittings go, heights, depths, usages. If you have any questions on the installation or you're concerned about, hey, I'm using a different one, I'm using a power driven, I'm using a Fleece, a full send, Evil Fap, all these different ones that are out there, these are going to work for all those brackets. However, if you do have questions, please call us here at the shop, Tombstone Diesel, or visit us on Instagram. You can message us there. We can take care of you and any kind of concerns you might have. Thank you again.